was that? Okay. I think I'm live. Pop out the chat. Scroll so we can see stream health. Okay. I think I'm live. We'll see what happens. I don't have a map in mind that I'm planning to draw, so I'm just going to throw some dice, see what happens, and draw whatever comes to my head. I'm using a mechanical pencil. I don't know why, I just like the feeling. Easy to refill, never have to sharpen it. And they last for a long time. Right. Okay. I have a bunch of D6s here. So, see if I can get things to work. Oh, I should check the link is actually working and it hasn't randomly started something really stupid. Nope, we're good. Just post on the Facebooks. There you go. Right. Let's roll some dice. Get the chat back open. There you go. Okay. Oh, and they've gone mostly off the, okay, interesting shape. I'm afraid my camera's really bad, so there's the page actually extends like a little bit, especially like, okay, yeah, it'd be half a little knuckle length. So it just doesn't quite fit. Also, I want to try maybe using some dice to sort of maybe establish some interesting places. I'll do that after I've drawn my coastline. Okay, so I think it may be some kind of island, perhaps. Because I love myself some coastlines, so. Okie dokie. Should just draw a vague outline of something. That's probably its own separate little baby island over there. All around. It's got an interesting shape. It's like a splat of paint. I can move this down just a touch so you can see the top. Okay, might be a way. Draw around this one. I apologise if you can't actually see anything very well. It's just a faint outline. So my process usually is I like to look at Google Maps while I'm I think my mic just... the OBS decided to mute my mic. Not really sure how or why. So that could have been like a half an hour of me just talking to myself and not actually be able to hear anything. That's just incredible. Well, that's awkward. It's a shame I'm not actually recording myself on Audacity or something, so I can just impose the sounds back in, but oh well, there you go. That's what you get for being that's what you get for being useless in technology. I feel like this area could do with just a little bit of work. Just make it slightly more irregular than it already is. Like, no beach is going to be perfectly smooth. So perhaps some sort of... looks a little bit better anyway. Right. Just finish rubbing out the guidelines. And then I'm going to do this little island off in the corner, which is out of sight a little bit, so we'll just move that. Let's think of a good shape. Just gonna remove the guidelines completely. Let's go for something like a bit like the Isle of Man, I guess. See that at all? Right, let's make it a little bit more pronounced. I suppose the disadvantage of mechanical pencils is you can't control the line weight too much like you could with a just a normal pencil, where you could not sharpen it as much, or eventually the line weights change anyway as you're using it. Here it kind of works. Obviously can't see, but it sort of sharpens to a point. Then you just turn it over and get a nice thin line. Not as controllable as a proper pencil, but it is more convenient. So, let's move this back into frame a little bit more. So I need to decide on some form of scale. I think perhaps like a slightly larger scale. Have this maybe be like the size of maybe Ireland or something. Not massive, but you know, still pretty big. And yeah, let's think. I want some mountains. It's always good. Slightly smaller than I normally draw. I don't actually know where my other maps are. I've got one on the other page, where you can see, can't see that well, but the mountains I drew here were much smaller. And a different style as well. I was trying out. Not sure what this map was for. If it was indeed for anything, but kind of reminds me of the Med. Yeah, definitely. Because there's Egypt. Interesting. Anyway, let's go back to this. So, I think it was style I want for the mountains. Can't like my usual style. So, where to place? Should introduce the dice method again. Should have made a note where they were. I'll use all of them. Well, some of them aren't even on the map, but that could be interesting. Let's remove that one. Move that one. Move that one. Keep these up here. It could be something else. Put that one there. So there's a mountain range in the middle forming. Kind of like that idea. Right. So I think what I'm going to have is a mountain range like dividing the island into two. And then up here have them sort of like jagged, rocky area, which is, you know, sailors hate and they want to go around. So we can see that. Right. So I probably only want like maybe a line of maybe mountains are like. It's hard to judge a scale here. Maybe mountains that big. Yeah, let's do that. Maybe go for a bit of a smaller scale than I was originally intending. I think this will look okay. Can't let the idea of having this, just imagining now playing whatever this place is, having this kind of valley in the middle, which is you know, nobody goes there or something. Might be a cool place to adventure. Let's try and show that. So we have another mountain there. I'll give it definitely visible. And then stick a river just in there. Try to flow down into this area here. Smaller, more hill-like mountains down here. Round that out. Yeah, that looks not too bad. So like some smaller ones here as well, just at the sort of edges of the range. Sort of even it out. So how I do my mountains is fairly simple. Let's pick this one in the middle. So go lightly at first, and then outline quite irregularly, not too sharp, more rounded at the top. Try not to be too symmetrical either. And then at the summit, I then draw a line down like this, and then maybe come back and then down again. And then I'll shade one side of it later on. So I'll do this one next to it. So up one, down, and then maybe expose like a little bit more of one side. So up fairly irregularly on the line, down gently, and then maybe keep this line over there on that side. You can kind of, see what I'm doing. If I knew a little bit more about perspective, then this might look a little bit better, but it's not really proper. It's not really a proper perspective drawing anyway. Right, let's continue this way. So up and back down again, and a line in the middle, up. So there's a fairly big mountain in comparison to the other ones. Down, and then perhaps goes this way. I do the hills in a similar sort of way, except I tend to keep them a little bit more rounded. And you can sort of right. Got a couple more here to do. Kind of important to sort of keep. I've got a bit of a slant here, but it doesn't matter too much. The bottoms, it's good to either hide the other edge or to sort of try and keep them fairly level with each other. Just otherwise it doesn't look quite right. But I'm sort of drawing on an angle here to try and get the best lighting. So normally we're drawing like this and you get my head in the way. Right, let's add some little smaller sort of foothills in. And then do some shading. I don't want to do too many, otherwise it looks a little bit too cluttered. Right, let's do some nice, simple, quick, easy shading. That doesn't take any time at all, which is just sort of hatching, just on one side. So it's just straight lines at an angle, using the sort of middle ridge line as your point to draw your lines from. Just make sure you draw from the same side each time. You could sort of darken different areas just to give it a bit more texture, but it's not entirely necessary. OBS has not muted itself again, which is good. I'll have to try XSplit next time, although I don't have enough money to pay for it, so I'd have to have a big XSplit logo, but we'll see. Got over the line a little bit. Tiny spot out. See, my pencil's getting it's losing its edge, so I've just twizzled it around a little bit. Oh, I didn't do the outside of my coastline. Should change that. Interested to try that technique by oh, excuse me, Nate from WSD20, where he does a sort of, if I tilt this a little bit, I don't really care about, just does a line like following the outside of the coastline fairly closely. And I think it's another one, can't quite see it. I'm doing it too lightly. But then like lines like outwards. Let's try that. Just gonna try it here, I think. Kind of still see the guideline a little bit there. Right, let's give it a try. It's like sort of a pseudo contour line, and then it ends in waves instead of continuing on. waves, but I'm not really sure what it is, how to describe it. Just going to do this little island here and see how it looks. So one of the things yeah, so he does this little contour line that you can kind of make out on my crappy camera, and then does these sort of broken horizontal lines off, which, yeah, I kind of like. I'm not sure how. I don't know if the camera's picking these up very well. I shall post a picture of this on the AbTab Facebook group once I'm done. It looks like I've got to do some coastlines and forests. Maybe a couple of cities and names or towns or whatever. Then again, naming anything will just take me a year, so could be a little while before you see anything. But yeah, I quite like this style. It looks, yeah, neat. Not as in, well, my style's not neat, but neat as in good. I don't know how you do it when you get to the doesn't look quite as good on that sort of lower lines, but where it's like more horizontal. I guess you draw just a little bit underneath it. I'll continue the style. Yeah, quite like it. This will take quite a while, so I will just probably do the rest of it off camera, because you can't do the magic of editing on a live stream. Oh, crap. I accidentally opened Steam. Let's close that. So I'll just do up to the edge of this. There we go. Right. Let's think about more rivers. Oh, I missed it. Missed one of these. Bulb in the middle line a little bit. Let's think about rivers or jungles, perhaps. Previously I've done, just had a scrap piece of paper on hand. What are you? Yeah, he'll do. I'll also show the other side. Previously I've done like sort of more like conifer trees. Oh, that's a bit crap actually, hold on. Yeah, like that. So really simple, and I've done, hold on, let me see if I can find my other map that I use frequently. Oh, apologies for the tattedness of this map, but it's been used quite a lot. I think I drew this one on possibly a stream. There you go. So yeah, you can see my sort of more deciduous trees in the centre there, and the yeah, conifers, and then swamp. Can't really see it. And then it looks more. There's more of a difference in person, but these are sort of more dead-looking conifers. Oh yeah, I really like the font that I did here, the lettering. As you can tell, yeah, definitely a dark fantasy map. Inspired by like Castlevania and sort of Transylvanian, Wallachian kind of areas with English names, because you know it's easier to pronounce something that's in your mother tongue. Right. Obviously, I think this area needs to have some rivers coming off. Don't have to be super long either. That winding its way up there, up that valley. This one, perhaps have this one come winding out of this one. So I should have one more river that will sort of come from this valley here. Just wind its way up. Meeting the coast up here. So thicken the line just a touch as it reaches the coast. Okay. Now, obvious areas of woodland that sort of speak to me, because thinking if you're playing in sort of a medieval type era, I mean, most of the land is going to either be like forests or farmland. That's it, and there's going to be a lot more forest. And you'll find, you know, areas carved out in a forest that might be farmland. But before, you know, humans turned to agriculture, the whole bloody like Europe would have been entirely forest. With the exceptions of maybe sort of Eastern Europe, which might have been a little bit more plain-like, and the steppes and all that, the further you go east. So, well, I like the idea of having a town here. Seems fairly sensible. I feel like a town would maybe not like inland, but on the coast again, like maybe here, where it's, you know, fairly defensible. And there's, you know, trade routes either overland or around the coast to this town over here. And perhaps that's it, just these two major towns, with maybe some, you know, villages, or maybe it's unknown what's up here? Maybe that's entirely forest. But to get to it, you either have to go, you know, over here, around the coast, or you could go through this valley here and get into it. So that's sort of getting that really lost world vibe off of this. Okay. So, I might just outline the areas that I want, and then decide on a style. Well, I definitely want this whole sort of upper area to be mostly forest, so let's just draw some outline that goes all the way around, hugging close to the river. Maybe going all the way up to the water's edge in some places. Nothing too fancy in terms of its shape. And then maybe a bit less of a forest on this side, not going all the way up to the coast. I think perhaps ooh, is that a nice idea? I know they say that rivers never split. I'm gonna break that rule. Screw geography. I kind of want these two rivers to be connected and actually have some sort of like artificial reason as to why these rivers are connected. I think perhaps whoever's, you know, in charge of this land, king or whatever, whoever's in charge, decided they want to connect these two major cities by rivers, so they don't want to go all the way around here. Maybe the coast is dangerous for whatever reason, so they go inland. They've diverted this major river using magic or just pure manpower. Have this outpost here where they have this, maybe a lake or something, a small dammed area where they then transfer their goods over and follow it down to the city down here. I mean, it's fantasy, who cares about geography? I'll get murdered for this as soon as I post this on the Facebook group, but to remind myself just to put a dot here, name it something later on. There we go. Right. And then I think this area here should be wood as well. I feel like it would be right up against this town. It's not as well built. Follows the river up, comes down. This has got a little bit more space. It's a lot more villages sort of dotting the coastlines. Perhaps when this island was settled, they settled here first, and then decided to settle here once they saw, you know, they could transfer goods from up here, the mountains, quite easily. I'm sure there's mines and things dotting this area, because look how easy it is to transfer minerals down. Okie dokie. Perhaps stick in a smaller patch of forest there, and just realised how straight that line is. That was not intentional. Do you know, stick in some foothill just to unstraighten that line, as it looks off-putting. That's better. And then I'm gonna stick a nice forest in there as well. Okay, not too cluttered. Okay, let's think. Could just do a style where you just do bubbles, big clouds of forest. Oh. OBS did it again. God's sake. I was talking about forests for like 10 minutes probably when it was muted. Yeah, I cannot see what this looks like in the slightest. But if I draw it maybe a little bit bigger. So, what I've done is done this, obviously scaled down. And then in the middle, I've just gone like this in a sort of clump. A little bit neater, obviously. And then leaving some sort of empty spaces. Maybe I might try again, just sort of gather these together a little bit neater and more closely together. It might look a little bit better. Yeah, I think that's better. Yeah, anyway. Well, that's that. I shall finish that there for now, and then post the finished result later on. I think that's probably for the best, otherwise I should be here forever. Right, well, thanks for watching. It's been one guy, T&D&D. Right, see if I can end it without screwing everything up. Well, thanks for watching. That's it.